Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, and today I'm going to be reviewing Crisis on Earth X. This year's crossover between Supergirl, Arrow, The Flash, and DC's Legends of Tomorrow. So, let's get right into that. We're gonna go ahead and say spoiler alert. Duh. I figured with any review like this you're gonna get into spoilers. If not for the crossover, then for the shows that have led up to this crossover. So that also means that I'll probably be talking about some stuff from the shows because some plot lines are entangled into this crossover. So yeah, and if you want to see the season premiere reviews of all of these 4 shows, you can find them at the end of this video. There will be a nice little playlist of every Arrowverse video I've ever done. So yeah, let's get right into the plot. Now basically how I'm going to break up this review is I'm going to just talk about the 4 episodes individually, and if you want to hear about a specific episode, there is a link in the description, or there are time codes in the description to each episode. Alright. So, let's talk about Supergirl, Season 3, Episode 8, Crisis of Earth X, Part 1. Part 1 basically begins with Darby, lie down. Alright. So, let's start with Supergirl, Season 3, Episode 8, Crisis on Earth X, Part 1. Part 1 begins, well, on Earth X, and the first thing you see, Nazis. Nazis everywhere. So, it's safe to say Earth X has a particular political party. Yeah, you see Nazis. You see this scientist guy who's like, we gotta hope this works so we can take down the Reich. And then they're all killed. The scientists and the soldiers are killed by, it appears to be, a Dark Arrow. It's basically the same costume, just a Dark Arrow. But the Dark Arrow is about to do something else, and when suddenly Guardian shows up, American Guardian, he's not a Nazi, and yay, Jimmy is finally Guardian. This has kind of been one of my complaints with Supergirl this season, is that Jimmy has not been Guardian this entire season. Straight from episode 1, he has not been Guardian. So finally, yay, he suited up as Guardian, and not as Guardian, but as Guardian. And his shield even has like an American flag on it. It's really cool. So yeah, there's that. And Jimmy gets killed because he's not as cool as the Dark Arrow, which, yeah, it's still Jimmy Olsen in there. But anyway, moving on, we cut to basically the different shows. We start with The Flash in Central City. Sorry about the clock that's going off. And we're back. Sorry about that, clock went off. Anyway, so we cut basically to The Flash. Barry is fighting King Shark in Central City, and Iris is on the comms, and she says, "We have a big problem. There's a lot of people that haven't RSVP'd to the wedding yet." So, of course, Barry, he's like, oh, we can figure that out later. I'm kind of battling a giant friggin' shark. He doesn't exactly say that, but still. That's basically the point. Cut to Arrow in Star City. Arrow is beating up a bunch of ninjas. We don't know where the heck they came from. They're just ninjas randomly in Star City. And Felicity says, so, are we going to Iris and Barry's wedding? And Oliver's like, kind of busy with stuff here. But yes, we're going to their wedding. And so Felicity RSVPs on that. Cut to England in the early second millennia, I guess. Yeah, second. It's in the early. It's like 1103 AD is what they say, I think. And basically, it's in England, and it's the legends, and they're pretending to be Robin Hood. So that's fun. Kind of wish I could see that episode, but whatever. And Sarah says, have we RSVP'd to Barry and Iris's wedding? And so they're like, okay, we're going. We have to get ready for the wedding. Cut to National City on Earth 38. This is the only one that's a different Earth, but cut to National City on Earth 38. And Kara, Supergirl, she's just fighting. She's just in a giant fight, too. She's fighting a Dominator. And she has this great line of, the Dominators, oh, they're so last year, because they were the villains of last year's crossover. This is so nice. She's so cute. Okay. Let me put that aside. Let me take my crush. We're going to check it at the door for this so I can just talk about Crisis on Earth X. I'll leave my crush out of it so you don't have to deal with that. My hair. Like, what is this? I need a haircut. I'm getting a haircut today, luckily, but... Yeah, so, sorry about whatever the hell this is. Anyway. Moving on. So basically, after her fight, she and Danvers, I call Alex Danvers, because it's just easier. It's easier because it's like, it's one of those things, but, my name is Alex, so it's one of those weird things where it's like, you don't really want to say the character's name if it's your name, so, yeah. Not that she's a bad character or anything, so. Some subplots notwithstanding here. Is it too bright in here? You know what, no, it's not. The things tend to appear more bright on my camera than they do in Premiere, but... Anyway, so cut to Kara and Alex. We'll just say Alex. Screw it. Cut to Kara and Alex at Kara's apartment. They're just chilling out, and they're kind of still moping about their failed relationships. Kara is still moping about Mon-El. Mon-El, who, by the way, has been having... Well, first off, Mon-El came back. Hey, there's something I could tell you. Boy, a lot has happened since my last video on Supergirl. Do I need to make this a weekly thing? I don't think I have time to make this a weekly thing. To weekly do Flash, Arrow, Legends, Gotham, Supergirl, The Gifted. We'll do The Gifted later when that mid-season finale comes up. I don't know if I have the time to do that weekly. I probably shouldn't. We'll think about it. Not the point. So, Mon-El came back. That's something I can say. And basically, he came back from being in the future, actually. He was thrown 7 years... he was thrown to the 31st century where he lived for 7 years and got married. And now he and his wife are back in time. And that's really awkward for Kara. Poor girl. Meanwhile, Alex has just gotten over her relationship with Maggie, or is still trying to get over it, which, yay, no more bad relationship. Alright. If you watched my Supergirl Season 2 review, you'll know I had a lot of problems with the relationship between Alex and Maggie, which only got worse in season 3, but hey, it's over, so that's nice. I could do an entire video ranting about the confrontation between Maggie and her father, like that argument they have at the end of that episode. I could rant about that because I hated that, but we're not going to talk about that. I'm not going to make that video. If I was doing these weekly, I would be able to rant about that, but we're not doing that, so. Moving on. Should I do these weekly? Okay, whatever. So, the two of them, they're still feeling bummed about their relationships ending, and Alex sees that Kara has an invitation to Barry and Iris's wedding, and I like that little moment is just, oh, it's an invitation to Barry and Iris's wedding, and she's like, Barry Allen, the Flash? So, yeah, she never met Barry. She hasn't met Barry, but I'm assuming she knows of Barry, because Barry came over in season 1 of Supergirl, so I'm assuming she knows of Barry. She at least knows Barry Allen is the Flash. So, Kara decides, you know what, no, we're not going to be mopey about this. We're not going to sit around here and mope about crap. We're going to go to that wedding. And so she opens up her little wormhole, as some people have affectionately called it, the cosmic vagina. I won't call it that much, but that's what some people call it, like blind wave. Okay, moving on. So they go through the portal, and they arrive on Earth 1. The Legends team arrives in the present day, and Oliver and Felicity arrive in Central City. Not Star City. They're from Star City. So yay! Everyone's here. And then there's I guess the rehearsal dinner is what that is? Yeah. What the hell is a rehearsal dinner anyway? I never understood that. It's like, I'm assuming that means that after the wedding there's going to be a dinner. Why are you rehearsing a dinner? Is it like there's a party and then there's the wedding and then there's another party, basically? Is that how weddings work? I've never been to a wedding, as you can probably tell. I don't want to go to a wedding, really. Anywho, so whatever, there's a get-together at Jitters. Of course, it's at Jitters. It's not like at Star Labs or the Hall of Justice from last season, from the last crossover, but whatever. So everyone's there. Everyone's talking. We got Mick. He's drinking beer. That's the only reason he came for the wedding, is beer and stuff to eat. God, my beard is so thick. I'm so distracted by everything. Moving on. Who else all is there? I mean, it's not really worth noting. Well, okay, here, Alex meets Sarah Lance, and everyone in their heads immediately clicks, oh, Sarah is going to bang her, because that's what Sarah does too. She bangs like every girl, with the exception of Helen of Troy. Oh, should I? Now I want to do this. Oh my gosh, now I want to do weekly videos on shows. Am I crazy? I'm kind of crazy, but there's stuff I wanted to talk about. Now, I can't do reaction videos because it's really a lot of work, and I watch these shows with my family, and they probably wouldn't want to be in a reaction video. So reaction videos aren't going to happen, but maybe discussion videos? Maybe. It's very tempting. It's very, very tempting. Anyway, moving on. So Sarah meets Alex. They start drinking. you kind of know where that's going to go. But anyway, Barry goes to Kara and, talks to her because she's not really talking to anyone. And, they kind of talk about Mon-El a little bit, not much. And Barry basically asks Kara to sing at the wedding, which is really nice and sweet. Then it's time for Joe's big speech for his 2 kids that are getting married. Hopefully everyone forgets that Barry and Iris are brother and sister, basically. So Joe has this nice big speech. It's all nice and cool and sappy and, tugs at the heartstrings. Meanwhile, outside, Sarah and Alex are getting it on. Getting it on. And so there's that. We basically... Oh, there is something I forgot to mention at this little get-together at Jitters. Oliver basically tells Felicity, we should do something like this. And Felicity's like, what, have dinner? It's like, no, be around, the people that we love and express our love to each other. And she's like, are you asking me to marry you? It's like, yeah. And it's like, this is the most awkward way to propose. But he's already done that in season 4, so he already did the big grand, proposal. So anyway, yeah, hair in my mouth. Anyway, 17 minutes. 17 minutes. We're still on Supergirl. Good lord, still on part 1. All right, we're gonna have to get going. I'm gonna try to finish this before that clock chimes again. That chimes 11, not 10:30. So I have 45 minutes to get through the rest of this. Okay, so Oliver wants to marry Felicity. Felicity says no, just straight out no. I don't want to get married, but I love you. I want to stay with you. Just don't get married. And she kind of brings up a good point. Is the last time we were going to get married, I got shot. So yeah. Moving on. The next day, obviously this breaks Oliver's heart. The next day, before the wedding, everyone's just kind of, getting ready and stuff. Stein and Professor Stein and Jefferson Jackson from Legends of Tomorrow, they're Firestorm, by the way, in case you don't know. But obviously you do know. Why would you be watching this if you didn't know that? The day before, they've been talking to Cisco and Harry about how to split up Firestorm, basically, so that Stein can retire and be with his family. And so yeah, they kind of go through stuff like that. And Jax basically says that he's kind of mad about it not because he's going to stop being Firestorm. It's not about that. It's that he's basically going to lose this father figure to him because he never had a father. His father died before he was born, or shortly after he was born. So Stein has always been a father to him. So yeah, he's kind of bummed about that. Let's see. Everyone starts going to the wedding. Kara is outside the chapel, and Alex shows up, and she's a little late. And Sarah comes up too, and it's revealed that, yeah, they had a one-night stand. And Alex is completely embarrassed about this. It's funny. It's really funny about it. They're really funny about it. I love the whole, it's such a guy thing to do. It's that's hilarious. I love that stuff. And because see, they don't say it outright. They don't just walk up to Kara and say, "Hey, we had sex." No, basically, Alex is trying to pass off. She's trying to basically act natural and not reveal that she's had a one-night stand. And Sarah is like, "Oh, how's your butt? Because I heard you fall out of bed this morning." And so then, Alex is acting all weird, and Sarah's like, "All right, well, see you inside." And she walks off, and Alex just kind of turns back. Kara has the most adorable, It's like, Kara's face is just so adorable because she knows exactly what's happening. So it's so funny and so cute. I'm sorry, Crush is still at the door, isn't it? Damn it. Moving on. So they have this funny exchange about Alex having a one-night stand. So that's pretty funny. Moving on, we have the wedding itself. Hey, everyone comes in. Mick is just so fun. I love Mick. He's such a fun character. Well, first off, he comes in, and I guess what are the hostess or whatever? I don't know who. Again, I haven't been to a wedding, so I don't know who all is who. But she's like, are you here for the bride or the groom? Or because are you sitting bride side or groom side? And Mick says, well, I've tried to kill the groom on several occasions, so we should probably go with the bride. And she's like, okay, that's over there. He's like, thank you. And he goes and he sits down next to the police chief, which, Heatwave, he's a criminal mastermind. But anyway, there's this one small moment. I don't know, no one's caught this really in the videos I've seen, but so he sits next to the police chief, and then Cecile comes over. Cecile is basically Joe's, well, right now, girlfriend. They haven't really gotten married yet, but yeah, she's basically dating Joe West. So Cecile comes over, and she's like, oh, hey, David, because David, whatever David Singh, that's the character, that's the police chief. And he's like, oh, hi, Cecile. And it's like, I don't know why, it just seemed like, oh, okay, it's because the guy next to the police chief, not Mick, says, you know her? It's like, it's just someone I used to know. It's like, is there a thing there? Is that going to be a thing? Is that, what was that? It was such a weird, like, quick exchange that I caught it, but I didn't understand it. So, anywho, so Kara goes up to sing. She sings "Running Home to You," which is what Barry sang to Iris when he proposed the second time. And that was during the musical crossover of The Flash and Supergirl. Great crossover, by the way. Yeah, let's see. So the wedding starts. Everyone's there and they're happy, and there's vows and stuff like that. And the priest says, if anyone, what's the exact thing that priests say? If anyone has anything to say about these two getting married, like not getting married, then he says, speak now or forever hold your peace. He is immediately vaporized because the Nazis are back. 24 minutes. I'm still on the first episode. This is a jam-packed first episode. I haven't even talked about everything. There's some stuff I missed, actually, now that I think about it. So, the Nazis come in. There's the Dark Arrow. There's Prometheus. Prometheus is just a Nazi now. I guess it's Prometheus X. And there's a flying woman with blonde hair and a similar build to Kara. I wonder who she is. And she vaporized the priester. Yeah, I combined preacher and priest in the same word to become priester. Oh my gosh, my throat is dry. This Pepsi does not help. Why do I never get water? I'm so bad about that. Okay, so that happens. The Nazis are here. There's a bunch of soldiers too. And so it's time for a really big action scene. everyone starts fighting everyone. The Nazis start shooting people. Barry comes over and, grabs all the bullets because he's that fast. Basically, everyone's secret identity is revealed during this, but we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, I don't really want to talk too much about the fight because, how can I really explain a fight scene to you? You just got to see it. It's really spectacular. You got Cisco, he creates a portal so Oliver can get up to the Dark Arrow and fight him. Oliver, who, by the way, brought his bow with him. Like, he basically does this and a bow just, like, extends. And so it's like, he just brought a collapsible bow with him to a wedding. Because of course he did. Who also brought his weapon? Heatwave brought his weapon. Mick Rory brought his weapon. Because he's Mick, obviously he's going to bring his weapon. Caitlin goes Killer Frost, which is something that... Oh, darn it, that's another thing I haven't talked about. But that's another thing that has happened in this season of The Flash that I haven't really been able to talk about. But, so she goes Killer Frost and, starts shooting ice stuff. Mick is immediately turned on, and she gets, like, this ice blade around her arm and starts, stabbing people and stuff. Alex and Sarah start kicking Prometheus's ass. Moving on. Barry and Wally are still on Bullet Patrol, while Kara, still in, like, her wedding dress, obviously not a bride's dress, but in her, cute pink dress, she starts fighting, this other flying woman, who I'm just going to go ahead and call Overgirl, because that's technically her code name, but we'll get to that in a bit. So they start fighting. They start, they blast out of the church, start, busting holes in roofs, and they go fighting. They got lasers and stuff. They're punching each other. It's amazing. And yeah, it's just this grand fight scene. I love it so much. And at one point, Overgirl throws Kara back into the church, which knocks out Cisco, which we'll talk about maybe a little bit later. Knocks out Cisco, and Overgirl just sort of flies down. She's like, "Give up, you're too weak." Kara pulls a move out of nowhere and just goes wham, and remember, she is really friggin' strong. So when she does that, it's like if the Hulk did that. There's a shockwave. It goes in everyone's ears. It's loud. It breaks every window in there. And it disorientates Overgirl. And so just when she does that, it's just one of those damn girl moments. It's like, you've been holding out on us, girl. You can do that this entire time. You've never used that move. Oh my gosh. There's a lot of moments like that where you just stop and go, damn, girl, or damn, son. There's a lot of those moments in this. I really love it. Oh god, it's been about half an hour. We're still on part one. So the Nazis retreat, and we cut to Star Labs. Mick says that he wiped everyone's memories, so everyone has their secret identities safe. And everyone's trying to figure out where they came from. So Harry remembers that there is actually a 53rd Earth, because they say there's 52 Earths, and they were like, but none of them are Nazis like this. And Harry says there's a 53 Earth called Earth X, and it's very similar to our Earth, but the Nazis won World War II. So yeah. And that's basically where the first episode ends. So, welcome, if you were going through the time codes, welcome to episode 2, about half an hour into my video. Welcome to episode 2 of Crisis on Earth X. This is Arrow, season 6, episode 8, Crisis on Earth X, part 2. So, this episode starts where they captured Prometheus. I forgot to mention that at the end of Supergirl, but they captured Prometheus, and they go to interrogate him, and he takes off his mask, and it's not Adrian Chase. It's not Adrian Chase from season 5 of Arrow. It's Tommy Merlin from season 1 of Arrow. And yeah, so it's Tommy. Oliver's like, I'm going to need a moment alone with this guy. And it's the same actor, by the way, which is really cool. Basically, it doesn't really result in too much. There's not a big conversation or anything. Basically, Tommy is playing with Oliver, and basically just ends up saying, you are weak. You will never beat the Fuhrer. And he takes a cyanide capsule, and he's dead. So, brief cameo, but it was pretty cool. Moving on. This episode I don't remember that much of, so I don't know how much I'm going to really talk about. Okay. Yeah, so they all try to figure things out. Cisco is down for the count because he was hit when Supergirl was thrown into the church, so he's kind of in a coma right now. This episode, it's not that there's not a lot in this episode, it's just not a lot I can really remember. Basically, so we get the first confrontation. Oh, I forgot at the end of Supergirl to talk about the villains, because there is a scene with the villains, and basically they reveal the Dark Arrow takes his mask off. It's Oliver. It's Oliver's doppelganger from Earth X. Overgirl takes off her mask, and it's Kara. It's Kara's doppelganger from Earth X. And then Reverse Flash comes up, and you think, oh, so is this like Earth X Barry? He takes off his mask, and it's Tom Cavanaugh. It's Harrison Wells, which we'll talk about that in a bit. So Harrison Wells, Tom Cavanaugh is back as Reverse Flash, which is amazing. He's a great Reverse Flash. I love him as Reverse Flash, but yeah, that's kind of interesting. Moving on. So, we get a confrontation between the heroes and villains. Basically, what people have described as the Holy Trinity versus the Dark Trinity. So, basically, they track the Earth Xers to a place. Kara flies over there, Barry zooms over there, and they both get there. And they wait, and you think to yourself, what are they waiting for? What? And then you realize, wait a minute, where's Oliver? And then you just hear, vroom, vroom, and then you just see a motorcycle, come in from the distance, and there's Oliver, and he gets off his motorcycle, and he's like, for future reference, super speed. I don't have it. And they're like, noted. So that's kind of a funny thing. It's kind of like in Justice League when they all go to meet. Spoilers for Justice League. When the Justice League goes to meet with a revived Superman, you notice Batman's not in most of that scene. Well, it's going to take Batman a little bit to get over there because he doesn't have any powers. He doesn't have super speed. Anyway, so that's a cool little funny gag. So they go and they confront the Earth Xers. Kara meets Kara, Oliver meets Oliver, Barry meets Thawne. Because they specifically say, it's Eobard Thawne from Earth 1. Boy, doesn't that throw another wrench in the timeline. They kind of rationalize it with the fact that you just can't kill Thawne. He has, there's so many versions of Thawne that you can't beat him, basically, is how they're going to rationalize this. Yeah, that's why, despite the fact that he's been erased from time twice, he's back again. And he's back as Harrison Wells, I assume just because they couldn't get the other actor back for the crossover, so they're just like, throw Tom Cavanaugh in the suit again. He can do it. So, they have a bit of a confrontation. Barry and Thawne just start running all over the place like they do, because they're speedsters. And Oliver aims an arrow at Overgirl, and she's just like, come on, bullets bounce off of me. That arrow isn't going to do anything. And he's like, we'll see about that. And he fires the arrow, and then we see a slow-mo shot of the arrow, and it starts to peel away, and boom, there's a kryptonite arrow there that sure enough comes right over and bam, gets Supergirl right here in her shoulder, or it gets Overgirl, I'm sorry, not Supergirl. Supergirl looks at Oliver and says, what do you have a kryptonite arrow? And Oliver's like, in case we met an evil version of you, duh. And it's like, where did he get that? That's a bit of a plot hole that they don't address, but whatever. Another thing I forgot to mention about the villains is that, guess what? Dark Arrow and Overgirl are married. Oliver and Kara's doppelgangers are married, and they're in love, and when they say that, our Kara, Supergirl, is just like, married? Ugh, gross. And Oliver just kind of looks at her and is like, no offense. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, I forgot to mention that. It's a big point about this, which we'll get into later. So they start to fight a little bit. Overgirl starts destroying a building in the distance because they need a quick escape, and they know that the heroes will go save the people. Sure enough, they do. Barry gets Oliver over there. Supergirl starts, grabbing beams and, lasering them back into position. Barry is getting all the people out. Oliver, in one of the coolest uses of a bow and arrow, uses the bow and arrow rope that, is so cool. And he keeps shooting arrows and swinging around, and he's basically wrapping up all the scaffolding and stuff into place. So that's really cool. So yeah, and that's kind of that. They go back to Star Labs and meet up with the rest of the cast. They do some stuff. I don't really remember what. This was a few days ago, by the way. I'm recording this on Friday, December 1st. This came out basically 5 days ago, so I'm having a hard time remembering. Yeah, moving on. Oh, my neck. Alright, what time are we at? 37 minutes! Good grief! 38 now! Alright, see, one of the longest video I've ever done on this channel is the Breaking Bad review, which is only slightly longer, just by a few seconds. It's slightly longer than the last video I made about a CW crossover, so this is ridiculously long. But this is how much I love this. Alright, so we move on. Again, I don't remember everything, so what happens next? Well, basically, they gather up a team. It's not everyone, but they gather up a decent team. Barry, Oliver, Kara, Alex, Sarah, and Firestorm all go to fight the Nazis again. So they do that. Yeah, they do that. There's another big grand fight scene. It's really cool. Basically, while everyone else stays behind. The only person that's not in the fight is Dark Arrow, who, by the way, is the Führer. They don't explicitly say that until later, but they never actually truly reveal it. So I'll just tell you right now, Oliver Queen is the Führer. He's basically Adolf Hitler on Earth X. So that's interesting. I'm so tired. Oh my gosh. So, moving on. So they have this great big fight scene. Dark Arrow, the Führer, is not there. He goes to Star Labs and starts wrecking stuff and basically takes over and puts everyone in prison. However, before he does, Team Arrow shows up. Black Canary, not Laurel Lance, but Dinah Drake, she shows up. Curtis and Wild Dog show up, and they fight him, and they get their butts kicked. Duh. But yeah. So big fight. It basically ends with everyone basically loses this fight. Pretty much everyone is locked up in Star Labs, with the exception of Felicity and Iris, who escaped to the ventilation shaft. And then everyone that went into the battle, the team, they get captured and are taken to... Well, wait. We'll get to that in a second. So they're captured and they're all tied up. Firestorm is split. And there's this funny line. Oliver looks at Dark Arrow, who shows up now, and he says, "If you hurt my friends," and the Fuhrer's like, "I did hurt your friends, and I will continue to hurt your friends." So that's kind of a funny line. But it's revealed, actually, that Overgirl, Kara X, is actually dying. They say it's from... At first they say it's from too much solar radiation, which is very strange because Kryptonians are solar-based people. Their powers come from their connection to a star, which is why on our Earth, on Earth, they have all these powers, because on Krypton, first off, it's a lot heavier on Krypton. Second, they have a red star. So, you make the assumption that, okay, Overgirl has been exposed to too much red sunlight, which actually does drain her powers. So she is actually poisoned with red sunlight. And they basically say, like, she needs a new heart. She needs a non-radiated heart, and guess who the perfect donor is? That's our Supergirl. So they take all our heroes basically to Earth X in basically a concentration camp. Because, hey, they're Nazis, they do that. And, yeah, everyone is taken... Well, okay, Supergirl is not taken to the concentration camp on Earth X. She is left on Earth 1, and we'll talk about that with... Welcome to The Flash, Season 4, Episode 8, Crisis on Earth X, Part 3. So we start off, Kara is back at Star Labs. She has been captured, by the Nazis. And basically, Eobard Thawne is going to cut her heart out, because apparently he's a surgeon. But hey, when you're as fast as he is, you can probably learn anything like that. So, yeah. What else? Oh my gosh, what else is there to talk? We're only on the third episode. Good grief. I'm going to try to get through this kind of faster because I've taken so much time on this video, but I'm going to try to speed this up, but I will talk about the important stuff. Oh, my dog, he's stretching over there. Excuse me, good grief. God, I'm probably not even going to edit that out because this is a very long video. I'm probably not going to edit it that much. Moving on. So, Kara's at Star Lab. She's been restrained on a table. Anyway, so pretty much everyone's been captured except Iris and Felicity. They learn because Thawne talks about it to Kara that everyone is on Earth X and they've been captured. Cut to Earth X, everyone's been captured, and they're at the concentration camp and they talk to a guy and they're like, "Why are you here?" And he says, like, "I love the wrong person." And so that's an immediate red flag. The Nazis don't like homosexuality. Duh. And so Alex and Sarah are a bit nervous about that. So in walks, I don't even know his title, but in walks Nazi Quentin Lance. He's It's Quentin Lance, and he's a Nazi. He's like a high-ranking officer in the Reich, and he talks to them, and he says, "All right, round up these heroes, and that guy," and he points to the guy that they talk to, and evidently there's a plane going overhead. Oh my gosh. So they're all rounded up, including that other guy, and they're going to be shot, firing squad style. And Lance goes over to Oliver, and he says, "I know you're not the Fuhrer, but I can't bear to look at you while I do this." And he puts a bag over Oliver's head because Oliver is the Fuhrer's doppelganger. This is where they explicitly state that Oliver is the Fuhrer. I don't know why it took them so long to do that, but moving on. So they're all about to be shot to death when suddenly Citizen Cold comes in. Leonard Snart comes in and saves the day. And he blasts all the soldiers with cold, with ice, and then he turns and he's got this big grin on his face. He's like, "I hate fire." It's so corny. I love it. But he saves them all. And by the way, the other guy that was at the concentration camp that they talked to, he's like, "It's about time you showed up." So he's actually an important character. So Leonard Snart, he unlocks this guy's cuffs, and they're like, "What the heck are you guys?" He's looking at the heroes, and he's like, "Who are you guys?" And they were gonna say, like, "We're gonna ask you the same thing." So this guy that Snart saves, his name is Ray, by the way, not to be confused with Ray Palmer, which will get confusing. But he starts glowing, flies up, starts blasting people. He's a superhero, and and they all escape to the Resistance, where he and Snart are based out of, because they're anti-Nazi. So yeah. I'm suddenly realizing how tired I am. It's Friday, it's been a long week. I'm at the end of the semester, by the way. And I've been working on papers and stuff, and we're 48 minutes into this video. I am dead tired. Oh, luckily, after this, I'm going to eat some lunch and rest before I get back to work on school stuff and other videos that will be coming out on Christmas. Hand's a little shaky. I'm so tired. Okay, but we're going to get through this. Cut back to Earth 1. Supergirl is still there, being restrained, and Thawne's about to do the operation. He's getting his tools ready, and Kara says, "My cousin will find you, and he will kill you." And so that's an amazing threat, basically, because, her cousin, Superman, it's like, that's a great threat, because she's telling the truth. If someone killed Kara, Superman would go ballistic. And that's one of those things of you never want to piss off Superman, like in Justice League. Again, spoilers for Justice League. Which, by the way, if you've seen Justice League, this next moment is really amazing. So keep in mind that scene where the Flash runs behind Superman, and Superman is fast enough to look at him and then attack him because he's that fast. And, it's one of those oh shit moments where it's like, oh, Superman's that fast. So Thawne turns to Supergirl and is like, "Your cousin, I fought your cousin in the future. He is fast. I'm faster." And literally, when that happened, I just mouthed the words, "Oh shit." Because it's one of those things where it's like, oh, he's faster. Oh crap. That is not good. That's really friggin' fast. So yeah. So that's like one of my favorite moments in this entire crossover when he just goes, "I'm faster," and I'm just like, "Oh shit!" Oh, it's amazing. So he's about to cut open Supergirl. People have pointed out that it's like, she's in basically like a surgery gown, basically, and people have pointed out it's like, how does Thawne expect to cut open her chest if she's still wearing a? So I'm back. Sorry about the sudden cut there. My camera reached maximum capacity because I've been talking forever, so I had to get the video file off of my camera and onto my computer, which, did you hear a couple of those chimes? It's 11 a.m. I've been talking for over an hour. Well, not exactly. I had to, that took me about 15 minutes to get stuff off there, so, ish. So let's pick up where I left off. I was talking about how Thawne is about to cut open Supergirl, and people have pointed out how is he going to do that if she is still wearing a shirt. I chalk that up to, obviously, you can't have a shirtless Kara on television. I know a lot of people would like that. And that's as far as I'm going to comment about that. Again, crush at the door. Moving on. Now, they do... I know I'm still harping on this, but he does, undo a button on her shirt. So, we're not going to see stuff, but there's enough... Basically, I know this is so weird to talk about. He opens her shirt enough to where, yeah, you can slice through and, rip out a heart. Temple of Doom style. He could do that Temple of Doom style, honestly. That's the thing is that, Reverse Flash, you could just phase your hand in there and grab her heart. It's probably going to be damaged a lot, which is why he's doing the procedure. He's doing the surgery, but he could go all Kalima. Yeah. Anyway, enough about Kara not being shirtless. Let's move on. Jeez. Moving on, back to the Resistance. Oh, good grief! Excuse me. We're not even done with the Kara scene. All right. Enough of the shirt. So just as Thawne's about to cut her open, because by the way, she's been flooded with red sunlight, which weakens her, which is why he can cut into her. She's very weak and vulnerable right now. Power goes out because Felicity just shut down all the power in Star Labs. So this eventually leads to a scene where basically what ends up happening is that they get Kara out of there. They distract everyone long enough to get Kara out of there, and but before they can get her out of there, Metallo shows up. By the way, Metallo's in this. The Nazis have Metallo. Metallo shows up, blasts Kara across the room, and they end up getting captured again. Way to go, guys. Or girls. Anyway. Moving on, back to Earth X with the Resistance, led by General Shot. Win Shot. Which I thought it was Shaw, but it's spelled Shot. It's whatever. Anyway. Win. General Win is there from Supergirl. And he's the leader of the Resistance, which is cool. Yeah, you can see I'm kind of reclining more. That's because I'm tired and I'm trying to get through this at this point. And there is a speck on my glasses. Jeez. Alright, I'm going to clean these while I talk. So the Nazis have a way to go through Earths, obviously. And the heroes are basically... And I keep saying heroes because they never get a name. Like, they're never called, like, the Justice League or anything like that. So the heroes are like, hey, we need to capture that portal and go through it. And Win is basically like, no, we're not doing that. We're going to blow it up. Because they have a super dangerous weapon that could destroy multiple Earths. So he wants to blow it up and save people. They still want to get through it, which they end up being able to do that. So everyone goes to the Nazi facility, basically. And the way they get in is, hey, you know who looks exactly like the Fuhrer? Oliver Queen does. So he dresses up in, the Fuhrer's outfit and goes and gets them in because he looks exactly like the Fuhrer. Leads to a scene where Lance actually brings in a Jew. Actually, it's Earth X Felicity. She's Jewish, and gives Oliver a gun and basically, I know how much you love to execute rule breakers, and he says it like that. It's very weird. Like, dude, you don't have to roll the R on that. By the way, Lance, I don't know what the hell accent he has. It's not German, which is strange. None of them actually have a German accent, which is strange because they're Nazis. Adjust the camera a little bit. Nice. No one has a German accent, but Lance, he's not even doing his British accent because the actor is actually British. He's not even doing that accent, so yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what accent he was doing, but it worked. It was all right. And guess what? So Oliver is about to shoot Felicity, and then he turns to shoot Lance, and it's not loaded because Lance figures out that he's not the Fuhrer. Meanwhile, before this happens, guess what the weapon is? It's a Nazi Wave Rider, which actually goes through the wormhole to Earth 1. And, yeah. So, once Lance figures out that Oliver is not the Fuhrer, Oliver attacks him because, hey, he's still the Green Arrow. He can still, kick ass and take names, which he does. And he kills a bunch of the Nazis, but a bunch of them do escape. And he goes over to Felicity, gives her a machine gun, and is like, "Go, get back to safety." So yeah. And guess what? We got a big fight. We have the team plus Leonard Snart now. Well, Leo Snart is what he likes to be called. Plus Citizen Cold, I guess, is what we're going to call him because he's good. And they go and they fight Nazis. And it's exactly what you think it would be like. Meanwhile, Barry and the Ray, which is what I'm going to call him to distinguish him from Ray Palmer, they go because General Wynn has decided, he's going to blow up the facility anyway. And he sends his weapon, which is Red Tornado, actually, which is really cool. So the Ray and the Flash fight the Red Tornado, and it's a really cool action scene. Meanwhile, there's some sort of thing that they have to do to get the portal open, and I guess they have to override the controls so that they can open it. And Stein, who is merged with Jax to be Firestorm, gets the brilliant idea of, all right, Jefferson, you go over and hotwire the thing so that we can open the portal. So we're going to split up. I'm going to go and actually open the portal with the lever. So they do that. They split up. They go. Jax hotwires the thing, but he gets pinned down by bullets and stuff. He's not shot, but he's basically cornered. He can't move anywhere. Stein, he still sees the lever, and he runs for it, and he gets shot. Professor Stein gets shot right in the back by some random Nazi soldier. And that is where part 3 ends. Holy balls, we're about an hour into this video, and I'm getting to part 4 now. Part 4, hopefully we'll talk about a little faster. But, so, part 4, Stein gets up because he's still kicking even though he's been shot. He gets up, he gets shot again, but he does pull the lever and the breach opens and everyone gets through, even Stein, because Jax goes over, because the Nazis have retreated at this point. And so Jax gets over to Stein and they merge, which keeps Stein alive, basically. So everyone goes through the portal back to Earth 1. Meanwhile, while this has been happening, basically Thawne finds Iris and Felicity and basically intimidates them into giving the code to turning the power back on at Star Labs. He does that, and Kara's right back on the table, so that was entirely pointless, but it was still kind of cool. So, again, just as Thawne is about to go and cut open Kara, he can't. He's trying, but he can't, and they're like, "What? Why can't you?" And it cuts down, and it's Ray. Ray is, well, first off, he's tiny, and he's standing on top of Cora. Cora, jeez. Ah, that was bad. Too many names to get right. So Ray Palmer, you have to say, the Atom, he is tiny, he's standing on Kara's chest, and he basically grabs the knife and stops Eobard from cutting through, and then he jumps, he flies, he gets bigger, he punches Eobard, blasts him away. The Fuhrer, Dark Oliver, tries to attack him. Ray blasts him away. Ray blasts a bunch of Nazi soldiers away. Holy crap, Ray got good, you know? Remember when Ray really wasn't able to fight anyone? It was like, no, he can fight now. He knocked out both Eobard Thawne and Dark Oliver Queen. So that's amazing. Oh god, I actually finished my Pepsi. I've been doing this for a long time. So yeah. So he saves Kara and Iris and Felicity. Then, because basically, before they shut down all the power to Star Labs, they sent out a distress call to the rest of the Legends that were in the Stone Age, still doing missions. So they came back with a distress call and saved the day, basically. Nate, Dr. Haywood, Steele, he frees everyone from the pipeline. Harry, Cisco, Team Arrow, Killer Frost, Caitlin, Heatwave. I think I said everyone. So he saves them, and Amaya and Zari, new character that I haven't talked about because, again, because I haven't made a video since the season premiere, which maybe I need to do like a show, like this week in TV or something. Like, maybe I just need to do one video where I talk about like every show I'm watching in the week. That way I don't do multiple videos, I just do one. But then how do you factor in Gotham? Gotham's a different universe, and The Gifted is different, and S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that. I don't know. I'll think about it. Moving on. Moving on, yeah. Yeah, we'll think about that later. So everyone is freed. Zari and Vixen are there too, and everyone reunites. Kara, the red sunlight starts to wear off on her, and obviously the Nazis escaped because Thawne is there. And so everyone teams up. By the way, we cut to the Wave Rider, the good Wave Rider, where Gideon is trying to take care of Stein and Jax because of their psychic link. Jax is also starting to die. And they go through this whole emotional scene, and because they have a vial that will separate them from being Firestorm. They basically, it turns them back into regular humans. They're no longer metahumans. And I just see that I have 16% battery, so we're going to wrap this up quickly. By By the way, we're on. Did I even mention we're on Legends of Tomorrow now? Hopefully the time code says that. We're on Season 3, Episode 8 of Legends of Tomorrow. Crisis on Earth X, Part 4. Yeah. So, the Flash episode ended with Stein getting shot the first time. So, hopefully I mentioned that. Moving on. So, they go through this big emotional scene. Stein takes the serum and then he dies in this really, really emotional scene. And yeah, it's a real tearjerker. Sorry, my eye actually does itch. It's not... Well, this one's getting a little watery, but... Oh, God. Okay, there we go. Alright, I have 15% battery on this camera, so we're going to go through this really fast. So, yeah. So everyone gets the bad news that Stein died, and Jax has to go tell his family. And it's pretty sad. It's, like, really, really sad. And everyone teams up, and it's time for that final fight against the Nazis. Kara goes and fights Overgirl. Green Arrow fights Dark Arrow, the Fuhrer. Barry fights Thawne. Everyone else fights Nazi soldiers, and it's this big, grand battle. The Wave Rider fights the Nazi Wave Rider. And it's this big, grand thing. And basically what happens is... so all the soldiers are being defeated, and, well, first off, Barry basically, like, pins down Thawne, and he's about to, kill him by vibrating his hand through his chest. But Barry's too good, he can't kill, so he actually just lets Thawne go. The rationale I've seen for this is that there's no point in killing Thawne because he'll come back anyway. So there's no actual point to killing Thawne because he'll just keep coming back. So yeah, Thawne gets away, and that's the last we see of him. Overgirl, who has been fighting Supergirl this entire time, which, by the way, Overgirl was on the Nazi Wave Rider, and they detect something, floating next to the ship. Well, it's Supergirl, and Supergirl is standing there. She's just standing there like this, and she says, "General, care to take this outside?" So, that's a Superman line. I hope I got that line right. It might be, "General, care to step outside?" It's so cool, so badass. So yeah, they're starting to fight. Eventually, Overgirl starts going supernova. Well, supernova. She starts glowing and stuff. We'll get to the quotes in a minute. And Kara's like, "Well, what do I do?" And Harry, who's on the Wave Rider, he's like, "You need to fly her up, and away." It's a very interesting line delivery, but it was funny, the up and away stuff. So Kara does that. Kara flies Overgirl up. Adjust the camera. Oop, too much. Flies her up and away, until eventually Overgirl explodes. And it's this giant explosion. It's not... Despite the fact that they say she goes supernova, it's not actually a supernova. If it was a supernova, she would have taken out the entire solar system, but... yeah. So, Overgirl explodes. Dark Arrow is sad because of this. He's angry because, that was his wife. So he's kind of on his knees, and then he turns around and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you." Yeah, because he's fighting Oliver. And Oliver just shoots him right through the heart and kills him. So, Oliver killed Hitler, basically. So he's dead too. And yeah. So Kara gets knocked out by that explosion, by the way, because she basically took the brunt of that explosion. And she starts falling down to Earth, and it's like this Avengers shot where you just kind of expect Hulk to jump out and catch her. But Hulk doesn't do that. She falls, you think she hits the ground, but then the smoke clears, and it turns out Nate caught her. Nate, all steeled up, catches Supergirl from that amazing fall. And she's like, how did you catch me? And he's just like, "Oh, it takes the man of steel to catch the girl of steel." and a considerable amount of luck. So it's like, did he even know he could survive that? But anyway, so he catches her, and everyone's all happy. We beat the Nazis. Yay. I have 12% battery. We're going to wrap this up really quickly. I'm going for about 20 extra minutes on this. Good grief. So yeah, we beat the Nazis. Yay. Okay. So everyone starts going their separate ways. Sarah gave Alex advice on not going back to Maggie. Yay. Let's not go back to that relationship. She just says, you got to move on. If you broke up with her, it was probably for a good reason. Which it really wasn't, but again, I'm not going to talk about that. Everyone starts going their separate ways. Kara and Alex go back to Earth 38. The Legends go back in time, wherever they're going next. And they basically say, like, well, what do we do now? And Barry and Iris are basically like, well, we're just probably going to get a minister of peace or whoever, a court to marry us. And they're like, well, we do know someone who is ordained. And it cuts to Diggle. Barry runs over, gets Diggle, brings him back. Diggle, of course, throws up because he always throws up when Barry runs him somewhere. So yeah. So Diggle is there, and Barry and Iris say their vows, and right before they're pronounced husband and wife, Felicity says, wait. Can you actually marry me and Oliver too, if that's okay with you? And Oliver's like, okay, I thought you were against wedding, but okay, whatever. Let's get married. And I know a lot of people are going to hate on that, but I don't think it's actually that bad. A lot of people have really laid on the hate for Felicity for interrupting the wedding again, but because it's so weird, they're just in a park and they just brought Diggle out of nowhere to do this, and the big wedding was already interrupted by Nazis, so it's like, it's okay. So Barry and Iris are married, Oliver and Felicity are married, and that's where it ends. So this is my final thoughts and verdict that we're going to make really quick. This was amazing. This was amazing. It was pretty perfect. There are some things that you can complain about, but they're honestly nitpicks. And yeah, it seemed like everyone got the right amount of screen time. Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, and Firestorm from Legends, they all got equal amount of focus during this. And it didn't, I suppose, pander to what show it was on. So, like, last year, in the Flash episode, it was really about the Flash characters. In the Arrow episode, it focused on all the Arrow characters. Same when it went to Legends. This, it felt like a crossover, Even though, the first episode was Supergirl, it was about Barry and Iris' wedding and stuff like that. So, I like that. I really, really like that. Everyone gets equal focus. It's a well-distributed focus, I suppose I could say that, is how I would put that. And, yeah, it's amazing. And, you know what? I'm going to have to agree with everyone. It's better than Justice League. It really is better than Justice League. Because we have these characters that we care about, that we've seen go through all their stuff, and now they cross over, and it looks like I'm getting teary-eyed, but I'm just tired. So everyone, comes together, all these characters that we care about, and it's just amazing. It's really just amazing. This is my favorite crossover they've done. I would say, honestly, I don't know if this is blasphemous or anything. I would say this rivals the Avengers. It honestly does. And I love the Avengers, but this was amazing. If, DC, they want to, they've been playing catch up with the DCEU, trying to catch up with the Avengers. honestly, they caught up with the CW. The CW has brought in something, has these 4 shows that rival the Avengers, that rival the MCU. They are so, so good, and I love it. I love it so much, and I love all the characters, and I love all the villains. All the heroes, all the villains. Arrow, amazing. Flash, amazing. The Legends, amazing. Supergirl, amazing. And freaking, alright, Crush is still at the door, whatever. Yeah. So, this was amazing, and, yeah, that's basically it. There's nothing else I can really say. Thank you for sticking through this long video. If you've made it this far, I'm really impressed with you. Yeah. So, if you want to hear more about, if you want to hear my thoughts on these shows more, actually check back on December 10th. I'm going to be uploading a bunch of mid-season finale videos. I'm going to be doing Supergirl mid-season finale, Flash, Legends, Arrow, Gotham, The Orville. The Orville will not be a mid-season finale review. It's actually just going to be a season review because that season ends. And the mid-season finale of The Gifted, that will actually be a few days after, so about December the 12th, expect that video. Yeah, so, and I don't know if I'm going to be doing just regular, just videos for every episode of these shows, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do like a video, I'll start doing a video like This Week on TV, where if there's something worth discussing, whether good or bad, I'll make a video and I'll talk about all those things. And I'll just do it like in just one video for each week. That might work. But if I do that, that's going to be 2018. So yeah. So let's see. I believe this is going to go up on December the 2nd. So stick around tomorrow, because I'm going to be reviewing the first 2 episodes of Season 5 of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Orientation Parts 1 and 2. So yeah, thank you for sticking with me through this entire video, and thank you CW for making an amazing 4 amazing shows and an amazing crossover. End cards are going to pop up right about now. You can click on those. You can follow 7th Hour Films on Twitter at 7th Hour Films, and by the way, right here-ish, I guess, should be that Arrowverse playlist. Yeah, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.